about raising black children. I'm raising children. I'm not raising black men. I'm raising men. And whether you are black or you are white, no matter what race that you are, there are certain things about being a man and being a good man when it comes to character and integrity and safeguarding the helpless and sticking up for those who need it and being a good man of reputation. None of that has to do with skin color. Everything has to do with the character of the man. And like I said, it's probably not an answer that some people would say is important, but that's where the world has gone, where we think that the most important thing about us is our skin color or our gender or our sex or our political affiliation or all these different identity politics or the identities that we put on each other, when really we're just human beings on this earth. And there are certain things about being a good person that transcend skin color and age and sex and religion and all of those different things.
I love that answer.
Yeah, it's hard. It's what I feel too. You know, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying but it's me. It's uniquely, that's how I feel about it. So
have you had any tough questions as of yet from your 7-year-old?
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's questions about skin color, obviously, you know, I mean, because it makes a lot of sense, right? It's like whether, and just a call to action for men, you know, right? We grew up on cowboys and Indians and GI Joes and superheroes and stuff. And we all want to feel like a superhero, right? As the male gene, we want to feel like a superhero. And we are a superhero to our children, right? We are a superhero to our children. We are a godlike figure to our children. And we get that opportunity with each and every one of our children that we have. And it doesn't matter where you're at on the socioeconomic ladder or what you have accomplished or who you are a superhero to them. So yes, when my son sees me and he sees me like a superhero, and he can even watch me on TV, and his kids at school say, your dad's going to beat up Conor McGregor. And so I'm like a superhero to him, yet he knows he can't be exactly like me because of skin color, right? I'm sure in his 7-year-old brain, which really he'll understand, someday when he's a little bit older, right? So there's the skin color, you know, difference, obviously.
How do you handle that? I mean, with one-on-one with him?
You know, I think one-on-one, I think it's the beauty of being a man of faith is we were called for a time and a family such as this. This is exactly how God created us to be.
Now, this is a very interesting topic here, and I'm going to play the clip here shortly. But for those of you who don't know, this gentleman here, his name is Michael Chandler. He's a mixed martial artist in the UFC. And this clip, or him just in general in reference to him adopting 2 young black boys, him and his wife Bree, has been very controversial in itself, as I said. And the fact of a white man raising black boys, and basically, is the white man adequate, for lack of a better term, or is he even in a position, whether that be morally or just in general, to be able to raise young black men? Now, a lot of the stuff he said in the beginning, I agree with. It's race neutral or color neutral, being a good person, masculinity, right? Which a lot of you may differ on that. Being centered, being stoic, being driven, being proactive, being reserved in certain situations, being respectful, being productive, being assertive, getting after it is not color specific. Being masculine, being a man, is not color specific, even though I know a lot of people would disagree. And people came after him and tried to flame him about this because they're saying, well, what can a white man teach a black boy about being black, especially in this climate? Which I think the biggest issue was that the fact that he said that he doesn't really see, or he doesn't see color, for lack of a better term, or color doesn't matter. But color does matter internationally, and especially here in the United States, raising American boys. It is a theme. This country obviously was founded on racism. That's just how it is. It's always been that way, and it's still a theme that's going on now. As much as people say, well, black people are stirring the pot, black people are in no position of power to be able to stir a pot, to be able to affect on this scale, if you will, in terms of racism. But understanding where you stand as a black man and not walking around oblivious, and maybe you are raised in a neighborhood or in a place, or you're sheltered to where certain things don't happen. Trust me, when you venture out other places, people don't look at it the same way, or they're not going to treat you the same way. And it's not to say that he can't, but he really, it's only but so much he can say in terms of, as you grow older, just know people aren't like me. You may encounter some resistance, or you may encounter people who are bigoted, who are racist, who will treat you a certain way based upon the color of your skin. And it's just a reality. This is everywhere. This is worldwide where this goes on. I'm not saying that a white guy, I definitely wouldn't say that you can't be a great father to some children. You can't be a great mentor. You got people like Customato, and I'm just throwing out one example just for time's sake. You got Customato and Mike Tyson, who changed this guy, instilled discipline, instilled several other things in this guy, confidence in him that he didn't have before, and made him a world champion, which he never got to see. But he was able to do those things as an adoptive father to him. But let's get back into the rest of the clip. Let's go.
This is exactly how my family unit was supposed to be. Before I was even born, this is exactly how it was supposed to be. Before you were even born, he knew that you were chosen for me and mommy. And he knew that you were going to have your skin color. And he knew that I was going to have my skin color. And there's beauty in that. And it's unique to a lot of people. It might be foreign to some people, but it is absolutely beautifully God ordained. And it's something that is going to be a part of our testimony. It's something that is making impacts through a butterfly effect that we don't even understand yet, whether it be people that see me from afar, people that see the way that I love you, the differences that we do have compared to if we did have the exact same skin color and the exact same eyes and the exact same hair. This is exactly the way God created you, and you were created in God's image, and you were created for so much more than you can ever think or imagine. And God has commissioned me and chosen me to be your dad. And the most important thing that I can be is your dad. And I tell him every single night, I whisper it into his ear, and he probably gets tired of hearing it, but I thank him. I'm like, I thank you so much for being my son, and I'm so proud to be your dad. And I just think I didn't get that as much when I was a kid. My parents loved me so much, but they didn't really make me feel like I could run through that wall. They didn't really make me feel like I could go across those county lines and go anywhere across the world and do anything I want to. And I want my children to unlock something inside of themselves to make them believe that they can do anything. And I pray that prayer over them every single night. You are Hap Chandler. You are Ace Chandler. When you walk into a room, people take notice. When you speak, people listen. When you walk in a certain direction, people will follow. You are a child of God. You are the head, not the tail. You are above and not beneath. And you are chosen for a time such as this. And I am so proud to be your father. And the best thing that we can do is pour into these kids, because if I could be a superhero to him, but somehow that superhero believes in him more than the superhero believes in himself, then what can't he accomplish, And it's so much bigger and so much deeper and so much more impactful than our differences, our skin color, the things that are different about us, because we're so much more the same than we are different.
Very interesting, especially those names. Hap and Ace. These are black boys. Hap and Ace Chandler. Interesting. He said something, though, also in reference to Mike Tyson talked about this a lot, how Customato would just wake him up out of his sleep saying, you're great, you're awesome, you're this, you're going to be the world champion. And Mike was like, yo, what's wrong with this dude? Is this dude gay? What's wrong with him, man? He's saying all these things to me. But unconsciously, this is building him up and making him really believe that. He's affirming him. And something I used to do to my youngest son. I used to tell when I was having issues with my youngest son, for those of you who know, who read my book, and I talked about being a single father and him having these issues, these emotional issues, and me making sure I did that to him to know and build that confidence the way you start believing it as a child that I am able to do these things. That part, being a good father, being able to mold your child, being able to set a good example, instill morals and principles into them. I don't think it matters when it comes to a color in terms of the actual experience that a person has, which as a black child, he will have a different experience than a white child. It's just, you can't get around it. Now, I know you have all the Angelina Jolies, Brad Pitts, and Sandra Bullock. It might be Sandra Bullock adopting kids, and they're just going to have a different experience altogether. And that's just how life is. You could never have that experience as a white person or what it's like being a black person in America. You can try to explain it, but unless you live it, hey, it is what it is. And then there's the whole thing of, a lot of people talk about, which I'm not going to get into, the whole organ situation, you know, where a lot of those stories have come up. But let me know what you guys think, though. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings and abundance. Stick around for the next videos. It's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. Let's run it up to 1 million. Quit playing with me. Peace. I'm the best.